about the force fields. Conversation with Ukstukulur, Ph.D. molecular physics. I have a question. You talked about photoreversive fields, but sometimes you pronounce them as photoreducive. So you talked about the quantity to be 29, and you wrote in brackets that there are 70 of them in general. Scientists have 4 fundamental fields now. They are weak and strong, electromagnetic, and gravitational, which is still undiscovered. And where is the rest of the fields? What about them? Do they participate right here? They participate as other background interactions which cannot be reduced by electric and magnetic interactions. That is, all what we are generating here now in our type of reality is formed by this type of interaction. By 4? Yes, by 4. Let's talk about 4 major. Actually, all others are participating in this. Since one field can't interact individually, let's suppose electric field doesn't consist of energies of electronic activity, of movement, dynamics of electron only. Maybe this is activity of the leptons? Well, there is activity of leptons also, but leptons comprise activity of the electron in any case. The electron is simply a more differentiated reflection of leptons' activity. And yes, in fact, the electric field includes other fields which reflect other quality aspects. It is possible to name them, but I think we shouldn't do this because this wouldn't give any result. And just as I name now evolution development branches and involution development branches, I can't reflect them to you by the knowledge in any way. You just know that they exist. I could use not word for them, but I could call them numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. In any case, I can't translate their meaning, their essence. They are not activated on the level of our thoughts and our feelings, typical to us. The same thing is with the fields I talked about, force fields, that there are 29 of them. Scientists say there are 4 of them. But I agree that we still manipulate with the 4 fields only. But the time will come, this will be very soon, and we'll activate at least 10 or 9 fields. Then we will understand that the thing we considered as a single one is just a reflection of other fields' interaction. When we reach this, the other scientific discoveries will begin, the other laws will become operative in general. Scientists will realize that the laws they base upon in their research should be changed, because these laws exploit already archaic conceptions. And then the time will come when we reach 72 fields and further. That is, we'll start to differentiate them. What we know as electric field will be differentiated onto 32 component parts. What we know as magnetic field will be differentiated onto 16 parts, we'll realize that the magnetic field in our understanding in fact doesn't appear to be one. Just denoted some summary force interaction between, let's suppose, 16 fields and say, this is the magnetic field. Nothing of the kind. Oh yes, I've got something. I have another question. There is the electromagnetic field in general. It's kind of a single one, but you separate it to mental forms, feeling forms, which generate karma forms, right? Yes. Hence, does all this happen inside the electromagnetic field? Yes, all of this happens inside the electromagnetic field. So we can produce electric field, magnetic field in the experiment. But mental forms and feeling forms are inseparable. They won't exist. After you produce the electric field, all of it will include elements of a certain magnetism inside. Yes, it will. And you simply won't be able to measure it with your instruments. Some properties will appear during inducing certain electric field, and you will consider them as electric field. We see here just only movement of leptons or electrons or supposedly the undiscovered Higgs particles. Yes, just only this, nothing more exists. How it can be nothing more? Something other just hasn't been detected. Our instruments are oriented strictly by thoughts, feelings of an inventor who discovers them. They are oriented on the definite type of interaction. And these types of interaction have been initially programming reflections of just only certain interactions in them. You observe the space, but there is no empty space. You observe the space and say, for example, or a Higgs particle has run through, has flashed by. It could be even mathematically, or could happen at the collider. But in reality, where has it flashed? Wherein has it reflected? When I do something bad action, then you understand that this action is bad only on the basis of your knowledge about what is good action. For example, if we see movement of electron, will it happen in vacuum? No. Vacuum doesn't exist, and what is accepted as nothing is not vacuum. Here goes bombardment directed on a definite frequency, very precisely fixed frequency. Just only solid object can appear in this frequency. Fields existing on the other frequency don't appear here. We virtually operate with only very narrow diapason of some particles in our research, but even this diapason is very huge for them. That's why we see mainly other fields, but we don't see them. We accept them at some vacuum as certain calmness. The only tadion or polaration which has flown there suddenly, or even fast electron, depending on what we examine, allows us to exclaim, "Oh yes!" But in reality, we have examined the frequency of another field, frequency of another force interaction. We have just slightly approached to the revealing of the given particle here.